Hi, I'm Bill Wild of Assured Research. Thanks so much for joining this quick hit video where we focus on one research note drawn from our July 2025 Assured briefing. This is on the cost of liability claims and specifically draws from data available from New York City's self-insured program. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to share my screen, and while I do that, I'll just say thanks for your interest in this. If you poke around this YouTube site and or our website and find that you want to learn more about our work, please just reach out. We will happily start your company on a trial to our work. So I'm sharing the screen. You should be able to see it now. And I'll just say that, for several years, 5, 7, I don't think it's as many as 10, but a good number of years, we've been digging into each year the annual report filed by the New York City Comptroller's Office, outlining the activity for the most recent year and updating past years from their self-insurance program. Now, if New York City was an insurance company, I think they'd be just outside the top 50. They're a big city, big self-insurance program. And what's nice is they give a lot of details on the causes of loss, frequency trends, severity trends, and so forth. The catalyst for this was going back again 7 or so years ago. A subscriber said, "Hey, how much, Assured Research, how much is a liability claim worth?" And although we don't have access to insurance data, as so many of you might, we did dig around and find some publicly available sources of information, this being one of them, and we were able to answer the question. The answer to the question was, for many years, about $100,000. This year, the answer to that question, we answered it differently, or bifurcated it, and said that including all claim types for a municipality or a city like New York, the average is $162,000. But if you exclude what has been a spate of really high valued civil rights cases that the city has settled and paid, the answer falls back to about $102,000. So let me just share with you what you're looking at and give you a sense for what's in the report. On the left-hand side are the individual, the claims by type, by cause of loss or action. Most years, New York City has faced about 18,000 personal injury tort cases each year, but it's really risen these last 2 years, and that's one of the takeaways. Is whereas in liability land, most insurers are seeing, post-pandemic, are seeing the frequency of claims fell off and stayed low, or most will characterize the frequency of liability losses as lower than pre-pandemic. Not the case in New York City. Number of cases is higher. Is that a harbinger of what others may experience? I don't know, but a big increase. Here you see the types: police action, claims against the correction facilities, sidewalk claims, motor vehicle, and so forth. And on the right-hand side, you see the dollar amounts they settle each year, which was about $1 billion in fiscal year 24, up 32% from the year prior. But a big part of that reason is some major civil rights settlements. So we stripped those out in subsequent slides. But there you see it, a lot of motor vehicle collisions, negligence on the part of city vehicles, civil rights actions, police, which I just mentioned, police, medical malpractice. New York City owns and operates, I think it's 7 different hospitals. Here in this slide, what you see, the blue bars is the personal injury claims with a scale on the left-hand side. You see the impact of the pandemic. It fell in 2019, but it really fell in 2020 and 2021, a little bit of a rebound. But then look at that really sharp rebound in 23 and 24. And this excludes civil rights claims, which aren't so numerous. They're more just large dollar values, as you see on the right-hand side here. They settled one for $171 million in 2024. So again, takeaway one: big increase in New York City in the number of personal injury tort claims. Here we're looking at the severity by cause of loss, and we include in the upper left, you see civil rights. That red bar actually goes off the chart. That's a 58% change, average change, or cumulative change, excuse me, over the last the last no, excuse me, this is average annual change. So a really big increase in civil rights actions. The blue bar shows the full 17 years of history we have. The red is just the last 5. What I draw your attention to is in the at the bottom is if you look at all personal injury claims excluding civil rights, you see a fairly manageable average annual increase. Just in the over the last 5 years, call it a bit less than 5%. Not so bad. Now there are some other, clearly sidewalks closer to 10%, motor vehicle between 5 and 10, medical malpractice 5% average annual increase. Not suggesting those are good, but I think probably manageable is a fair characterization. Police action claims actually decreased, and since those are fairly voluminous, that brings the overall average down to just a bit below 5% increase in severity across all claim types excluding civil rights. Look on the right-hand side, and this answers what a claim is worth across major causes of loss. At least this was, I think, fiscal year 2024 data. So one could look at this on a, going back on an average basis, but it gives you a sense. Civil rights, there were some really expensive cases that were settled. Medical malpractice, what's that, 700 something thousand. And then it goes down from there. Motor vehicle claims would be of interest. Those are over $200,000 on average. Sidewalk claims at $120,000, it looks like, which is pretty material for slips and falls on sidewalks. But if you look at the very bottom, all personal injury claims excluding civil rights, it's, I think that number is 102,000 is the average settlement value. All personal injury claims, if we include New York City's expensive civil rights settlements, it's been about 162 in the last year. So takeaway, again, frequency in New York City, the municipal liability self-insurance program up really appreciably the last 2 years. They're clearly seeing claims filed at a rate that's faster than the pre-pandemic level. Takeaway number 2, though, that's the negative. The positive is that the average severity increase, excluding civil rights, has been pretty manageable, a little below 5% overall, with several major categories kind of in the 5 to 10% range from a recent average annual severity perspective. I'll conclude just by saying that the New York City has done everybody a favor. They've created a really nice dashboard interface that you can use to extract information. So I'd encourage anybody and any insurer out there with a municipal liability book of business to dig into that. And it's at the controller's website, and you can have some fun and extract some valuable information. So with that, I'll stop sharing and say thank you, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Please do reach out if you'd like a trial to our work.